Welcome to another restorative practice. Today we're going to be using the wall. So you can see I've kind of set my mat up long ways with the short edge against the wall, which we'll be using throughout practice today. We've been talking about kind of connecting to the long-term practice of yoga. And I'd like for you to consider as you move into this restorative practice and into stillness, how all of the practices that you've done in the past leading up to this moment, up to this particular practice, might lend their strength to the practice that we're in the moment. There's a meaningful way that we can connect to our regular practice by grounding, by allowing, by relaxing into it, setting aside our expectations, setting aside our demands of ourselves, and moving into a place of receiving and allowing the long-term practice that we've led up to this point to fuel and infuse the practice that we have in the moment. So as usual, we have sort of a set of props, bolsters, blankets, blocks. If you have a pranayama bolster or several extra blankets, just maybe gather a variety of things and have those available for your practice today. And we will start to get started. So we're going to begin our practice in just a shavasana position, but I'm going to encourage you to use the baseboard and the wall here to place your feet against. If the walls are cold or just not very comfortable, or if it's uneven, the baseboard's a little uneven or something, you can always place a rolled blanket or a pranayama bolster or something against the wall instead to press your feet into. So lying down on the back, take your time to kind of settle in. The idea of pressing the feet into the wall and then relaxing your feet is to kind of get a sense of both grounding at the back of the body as well as a sense of standing. So we're getting that sense of grounding through the feet as well. As far as the arms, we're just going to lie those up and overhead, softening the arms against the floor. Once you've kind of stretched and reached here, just allow the elbows to softly and naturally bend. Let your breath bring you into a place of stillness. Yoga Sutra 114 talks about how we can establish a firm ground in our practice. And the word in Sanskrit that is used here is Bhūmih, which means earth. It means area, it means land, it means space. And we can just imagine our yoga mat and the sort of space that we've carved out for this practice to be welcoming, and just allow the body to settle into that firmness. In many ways, this is a beautiful metaphor for allowing our individual self to lean into and merge with that which is greater than ourselves. On a physical level, the earth itself is the greater self body, whereas our individual human bodies are the individual self. And we can just kind of softly allow, not through action, not through pressure, not through engagement, but through softening, allow the individual body to blend into and be supported by that which is greater than ourselves. See if you can settle into a place of establishment. Notice how soft can I breathe. How relaxed can I allow my joints to be here. If your eyes are open, allow your gaze to be very gentle and soft. If your eyes are closed, just allow your focus inside to be soft and more general. non-specific, broad, and at ease. Focusing not on any one part, but on the whole. See if you can feel that sense of establishment and grounding through the soles of the feet against the wall, through the sacrum, through the back of the shoulder blades, and the base of the skull. Backs of the hands, everything soft, blurring that line between individual self and the greater body of the earth. Similarly, dissolving our heavy thoughts into the earth, our heavy hearts into the earth. Just a few more breaths. And leaving that anchor of our feet against the wall, that sense of grounding there, and the anchor of our pelvis against the earth, leaving that intact, moving just the head, the heart, and the arms over to one side of the mat. A little side bending and opening. Whichever side you're leaning to, soften back into the pose. Relaxing both shoulders, back of the skull, the backs of the hands. Abhyasa is the word that we use to describe that long-term commitment to practice. It also means well-placed effort. When we place the body in a particular fashion or a particular shape, we can then commit to staying in that shape. Not through intense effort, but through softening, through allowing. Maintaining the grounding through the feet and the sacrum, moving just the head, the heart, and the arms back into the center of your mat. Take a few breaths with an active reach, pressing the feet into the wall and reaching the fingertips away. And after opening and stretching, start to walk your body over to the other side. So again, leaving the feet and the sacrum intact in their position against the floor, anchored and rooted into that Bhūmih, that earth energy, that area and space that we've carved out. And then softening the upper body. We are often pushed or pulled away from our center. And there's value in noticing and bringing awareness to that feeling of being off-center. And as you notice those places, bringing the head and the heart back in line with the wisdom of the body, our earthly nature, coming back to that sense of grounding. Finding your alignment again, taking a few more breaths just to rest at ease, allowing our body to release its weight into the earth, merging into that which is greater, allowing ourselves to be supported and cradled. Begin to gently, on your exhale, draw your knees in towards your chest. Maybe the arms come to wrap around. Maybe there's a little side to side motion here. And eventually we're going to roll to our sides to reset our position on the floor. So just rolling to your side and pressing up. So we have a couple of options, again, depending on the props that you have and what kinds of tools you have available for your support as we come into our next shape. So we're going to place the feet either against the wall, soles of the feet against the wall, and what we might do is create some kind of support here. So again, I've just kind of got my little pranayama bolster here. This could also be a blanket, a pillow, it could be a block, it could be a larger bolster, something like that, just to kind of place some support here. We're just going to come down again to the spine, but this time bottom is much closer to the wall. And how much space is between your tailbone and the wall is kind of up to your body and what's going to work best for you. We could use this support here just to kind of create a little bit more distance between ourselves and the wall as we bring the soles of the feet to the wall. You can also bring it and just kind of very, very gently, just enough energy to keep that prop in place. So you don't necessarily want to use something heavy here. Another option would be just to place a piece of paper underneath each foot and just see what you can do as we, pull weight away from the wall. We sort of lose that pressure and it's going to fall. But if we can hold just enough weight or just enough pressure, just enough effort to sustain our holding of that prop against the wall or that piece of paper against the wall. And then again, arms can kind of come out either wide or cactus shape. They can come down like Shavasana. And you might feel as you hold this shape over time, even though it's the minimum amount of effort to hold the object in place, you might start to feel some tension and the effects of holding this position for a longer period of time. So if at any point you need to stop and take a break, feel free to do that. Just see if you can maintain a softness in the face, ease in the breath. See if you can draw your awareness to the sacrum and allow that sacrum to feel heavy and rooted. Again, merging our individual self into that which is greater than ourselves, our earthly body and the earth itself. In the same way, our individual mind merging into that collective consciousness. The feelings that we hold in our heart merging with the feelings that are happening within all other human beings, all other creatures around the world. Notice any feelings of tension. Continuously check in and relax the sacrum back down to the floor. Part of this abhyasa practice of being well rooted and well established in our practice is about sustainability. Of course, we can't keep this up forever. Eventually, the legs would fatigue from holding this object in place. If you're using a bolster or something that has handles on each side, or perhaps a folded or rolled blanket for this object, you can start to reach up and start to draw that above your knees. And we're going to pull the knees sort of down in towards the chest. This is sort of a modified happy baby pose. If you're not using an object that has handles like that, you can just release your object down to the floor or back down to the wall and just gently allow the weight of your hands. We're not pulling down, but just allowing the weight of the arms and hands to kind of gently draw the knees down towards the earth. Gently and very sort of pointedly Check with your pelvis, the tilt of your pelvis. Does it still feel that sense of grounding? If not, make an adjustment, maybe pointing the tailbone a little further down. Taking a few breaths here. No effort, as much as possible, just allowing softness. The bind of the fingertips wrapped around the feet and the weight of the arms, the only thing kind of pulling down. You might again feel that sense of fatigue happening in the thighs. Just allow that, just sit with it. Long-term practice. The gentle amount of effort that we can sustain over time. Then either releasing your prop or your hands from the outside of your feet. Just draw the legs to extend up the wall. You can see I do have some space between my sitting bones and the wall here. That's fine. If you prefer to scoot a little closer to the wall, that's fine as well. We're just going to stay here as a transition. Get a sense of grounding, not only through the sacrum, the shoulders, the back of the skull, the backs of the hands against the floor, but also with the heels against the wall. Connect to the area that we have carved out for this practice, the earth upon which we rest, that Bhūmih energy. Might use some blocks or some kind of support, perhaps a bolster for this next posture. If so, we can bring that over to the left side of our hips, just kind of placing that maybe against the wall, a block or two, perhaps our bolster slides into that position. Then leaving our left leg extended, we're going to bend at the right knee, sole the foot first coming to the wall. Just very gently allow that right knee to fall open, maybe allowing the pinky edge of your right foot to come against the wall rather than the sole of your foot. Then we'll bring that same sort of that ankle or that pinky edge to just underneath the kneecap on that left leg, and then start to bend at the left knee. So there might again be some adjustment of how close or far away you are from the wall. Ideally, your right elbow can rest against the floor and just your palm softly cupping the knee, just to provide not pressure and resistance, but just a support. How high or low the sole of your left foot is on the wall is kind of up to your body. And once you find that position, see how soft you can become in the shape. Can you allow that heaviness in your head, the heaviness in your heart, to just flow into the earth? Do you still feel that sense of support in the pelvis? Connecting our physical individual body to the physical body of our world. Bhūmih. Feel the weight of the right knee and the right hand. Feel the pressure of the right elbow against the floor. Maintaining both shoulder blades and the back of the skull into the floor. Start to wiggle walk or kind of heel and then toes, heel and then toes. The left foot down the wall and to the left. And we have that support that we brought near the wall here on our left side. And this is a place for that right foot to rest. Now perhaps your body is comfortable resting that right foot right against the floor, which is available to you if you like. But these props are here just to support, again, to make things a little bit more supported, provide an area, that space or that foundational energy. And In my case, I've let my right arm kind of flow out to the side, rounding through both of my shoulders. With my foot on this support to my left, my right foot, I feel like I can kind of relax. You can also use that same support, perhaps if you have something long like a bolster or a pillow. You can allow the left knee to kind of also rest on that shape. And ideally, we're feeling a little sensation here on the outside of that right hip, but not through effort, not through pressure, not through pushing ourselves into the twist, but through softening. You might choose to turn the head towards the right shoulder. You might choose to just stay looking straight up at the ceiling. Soft gaze, soft breath. Notice if over time that right hip starts to fall back towards the earth a little bit. It might feel good to roll a blanket or just put a soft cushion there so that it feels supported. It's also an option. Notice as you relax that weight downward too, how the stretch or the sensation of this pose shows up in different parts of the body. The long-term commitment here. The thought of being well placed, making sure that we feel supported in our practice, and that our practice is supporting us. When you're ready to come out, gently uncross your legs, removing your foot from the support of the floor or whatever support you were using. Bring both legs back up the wall. Start to feel the blood returning to different parts of the body. Or we're draining back down. Kind of feel that gravity clearing the feet, clearing the ankles, the calves. Trying to keep a little softness in the knees. Neutralizing. Before we find the other side, if you were using props on that left side, maybe choosing to move those props to the other side of your mat in preparation for taking that same pose. And again, we'll bend at the left knee now, leaving the right leg straight against the wall. And just for a moment, just letting that left knee fall open to the left, pinky edge of the left foot coming to the wall. Soft for a few breaths. Feel the weight kind of shifting into that left side of the sacrum. And then moving that left ankle to just below the right kneecap. Getting ready to prepare to support that left knee with your left hand, bringing the left elbow closer, and then gently drawing the right knee to bend. Left knee can just rest in the cup of your palm. Soften. Again, we're not pressing against the inner knee on that left side, just supporting. Feel the transfer of the heaviness and weight of that left leg, that limb, resting in your palm, that weight transferring down to the earth. And again, just allowing the earth to receive your weight. Allowing the individual earthly body to merge with and be supported by that wholeness of the entire earth. Allow the earth to draw you closer. Allow yourself to be supported. Feel free to experiment with the height of your right sole of your foot against the wall, whether it's high and the leg is a little straighter, or whether it's low against the wall. allowing yourself to be supported as you make this transition. Perhaps setting your props to your right now in that correct spot to support your right knee and your left sole of your foot. By gently heel toeing that right foot over to the right and down towards the baseboard or the floor. And just allowing the knee and that left foot to be supported. Perhaps that left arm comes straight out wide to the left side, adjusting for both shoulders to be relaxed into the floor, starting to soften into that support. Maybe the gaze also shifts to the left, over the left shoulder now. And give yourself time to allow your body to be received again by the earth. We've changed positions. The left hip has come away from the floor a little bit. Just allow it to soften, even if it doesn't touch back down, just allow it to soften back. Start to feel that heaviness again. Feel how your props and the earth below those are supporting you, and just trust. Allow that weight to be received. When the moment is right, begin to uncross the legs and just take a little break with both legs extended up the wall, heels resting, sacrum resting in the floor, shoulders resting, skull resting, backs of the hands. How softly can you breathe? How gently can you allow yourself to be supported and cradled by that greater earth? Eventually, both knees will start to soften and bend. Knees coming back in towards the chest. Maybe we take that little happy baby. Maybe we just gently wrap palms around the knees and softly rock side to side. And just as we did before, eventually we're just going to roll to our side, maybe pausing for a moment, or pressing your way back up to seated so we can set up our next shape. So we'll definitely need some kind of more significant or substantial support, probably a rectangular bolster or a stack of bed pillows is going to be the best choice here. And we're going to bring that so that the flat side is up and the long edge is against the wall. And we're basically going to kind of bring ourselves back to the same position we were in before, back of the body on the floor, soles of the feet on the wall, before setting ourselves up for a supported bridge pose. And we have lots of options on how we place the feet, how we extend or bend at the knees, so lots of options. Let me kind of show you what's available. By first coming down, sitting bones can kind of come close to the long edge of your bolster, starting to bring the body against the floor again, soles of the feet against the wall, and just for a few rounds of breath, kind of press the heels into the walls. Notice how this pressure against the wall kind of transfers down and presses the sacrum into the floor. Feel the flat and aligned nature right now of the back of the sacrum, the back of the heart, and the back of the skull. The arms can be anywhere that's comfortable for you. And then what we're going to try to do is basically scoot the sacrum up onto this support. So this might look like just kind of pressing the feet into the support and lifting and kind of walking the shoulders forward. That's one way to do it. Another way would be to kind of roll to your side, kind of press up, bring the sitting bones or hips to the top of your support, and then turning over. So there's a couple of different options, again, using the one that's best for your body. And then once we are supported, shoulders and skull should still be on the floor. We can extend the legs both long and upward, heels against the wall is one option to take this pose. Another is to, again, bend at the knees. You could also bring the feet a little wider. You could also bring the edges, pinky edges of the feet together and allow the knees to fall open. Perhaps in that scenario, it might be nice to have some support underneath the heels so that you can just fully relax your body in that way. So experimenting with how the legs are in this pose is kind of up to you as a practitioner and as based on the props that you have available to support you. But ideally, everybody's sacrum is flat against some kind of support. Shoulders and back of the skull are relaxed into the floor. Backs of the hands are relaxed. You can also take that more open-hearted shape with elbows bent and hands above the head if you like. So experimenting with that. And then just softening. Just as we have allowed the heaviness of our hearts and the heaviness of our thoughts to kind of flow into the earth, connect again with that Bhūmih earthly energy, that well-placed body, and just allowing ourselves to be supported. Feel how with legs up the wall, there's a sense of gravity. Maybe the toes feel light and the blood is flowing back towards the heart, calling for renewal, refreshing of the blood, reoxygenation. Feel the heaviness of your sacrum sinking into whatever's supporting you. This could be a block, it could be that stack of blankets, just something to lift the sacrum a little ways off the floor, and then allowing that to create sort of a waterfall gravity effect of whatever we had in our feet and our legs kind of flowing back and then downward towards the heart, pooling here in the heart center to be refreshed and renewed. Back of the heart supported by that which is greater than ourselves, the earth in comparison to our physical body, and the very core of that collective being that is oneness, that we are truly is our identity, that oneness of all things. If you can just kind of soften in, not through force, but through allowing gravity to draw you back to your home, back to your center, back to peace and stillness, allowing the earth, that Bhūmih, that space that we have set aside to hold, cradle, and support you. Softly can you breathe? How surrendered can the backs of your hands, your sacrum, your shoulders, and your skull be into what is supporting them? How soft the backs of your knees? Whether your heels are resting against the wall or some other kind of support, how heavy can you allow them to be? How supported? delicate operation to come out of this pose. So if your legs are extended, maybe bending at the knees and bringing the soles of the feet back to the wall. You can choose to just kind of gently offer some pressure against the wall to lift your sacrum away from your support and just draw that support out to the side. You could also, again, come all the way down. Just allow your knees to fall to one side. Just kind of roll off of your support. So just whatever feels like the safest and most secure way to come down. Spend a few moments with your back, your sacrum, your shoulders, and your skull just flat against the floor. Legs can remain extended up the wall, or soles of the feet come in. You can even draw the knees in towards the chest for a little bit more, or rocking again from side to side. Eventually, we will flow to laying on our side again to press up. We're going to change positions one more time here. So as you rise, we're going to start to face away from the wall. And again, depending on the support that you have and what props you're using and just kind of what is most comfortable for your body, we're going to take our rest pose today. Instead of lying flat on the back as we have been throughout our practice, we're going to take a child's pose. So lots of different options on how we can find a deeply supportive child's pose. I definitely encourage maybe some kind of support like a block or a pranayama bolster underneath the hips, even higher if that feels good to you. You could also bring some support between the knees, like a bolster or bed pillow or blankets. You can also create some kind of support for your forehead, whether that's coming forward onto some support, like maybe using a block on top of your chest support. If you're using a shorter kind of support, for example, you can also, rather than having a separate support, press your bolster up against the wall, having your sitting bones resting there. And of course, this leaves the head to come really low, which might be comfortable for some bodies, but you could also use a rolled blanket, a pranayama bolster, or a block to support the forehead in this position as well. So there's still a little sense of that chin to chest, but I've got quite a lot of space here between my two supports for my forehead and for my chest that allow me to breathe here. Arms can either come to rest on that same rolled blanket or pranayama bolster. They can also roll alongside the body, ankles and wrists near to one another. You can also just bring your arms flat against the floor or kind of reaching further forward. So lots of options here. But I want to take some time to establish your pose so that you feel totally supported. Support underneath the ankles might feel really nice here. So experimenting with the props that you have to take sort of an inward-facing shape where we're bowing toward the earth. Again, we're connecting with that Bhūmih energy. And the word for humility or humble, we have that H-U-M prefix, which I believe is related to the word for humus, which is the layer of topsoil on the earth. And so being humble, being humbled, or bowing before is a way of describing being close to the earth. Surrendering to that which is greater than ourselves. And there is a peace that passes all understanding. There is a peace that is so much greater than any of our troubling vrittis, our issues, our swirling thoughts in our mind. And when we commit each time to connecting to this peace, even if it's just for one breath, that strength of our practice is highlighted. Let every moment that you've ever freely chosen to seek peace come to bear in this moment now. Let it add to your peace. Let it add to the stability of your overall practice. Soften. Allow that support to hold you. Feel the back body open, not through effort, but through surrendering to the support below you. Feel the earth below you. Its powerful and grounding vibration. Letting go to it. Being held and cradled by it. As you release yourself to that support, feeling yourself almost lifted. Feel a lightness in your heart. And freedom and clarity in the mind. Remain committed to your pose, your child's pose. Feel the heavy weight of your earthly body just flowing into the earthly body of Mother Earth. Feel the breath that you receive coming from the greater atmosphere, flowing into your body, flowing back out to be returned to that which is greater. Find yourself humbled by that greatness, that vastness of oneness and wholeness. Feeling yourself enveloped by that wholeness and also allowing that wholeness to shine from within you. And when the moment feels right, begin to slowly plant your palms and gently press your way back to seated. Allow your body to rise and come from those props, those supports, to find an upright seat. And I definitely recommend taking that wall into consideration, maybe scooting aside your props and just allowing your sitting bones to come into the earth, as well as the back of the sacrum, maybe the shoulders against the wall behind you, allowing yourself to be supported from all sides. There will always be vrittis in the mind and in the heart. those swirling motions of disturbance. But as we relax through the third eye center, as we relax through the throat center, the heaviness of the mind can naturally and effortlessly flow downward through those open spaces that we have created. And let that flood your heart center. Allow the heavy thoughts, heavy feelings to just make a little space in your heart to hold that and be present with it. Then begin to relax through the solar plexus, relax through the low belly, and again, effortlessly, not through pushing down, but through allowing. Let that heavy weight flow downward through that central channel and into the awaiting pelvic bowl. This is the appropriate place to hold the heaviness of our human lives as it connects us to the earth, as it stabilizes us and allows our heart and our mind to be light and free. This doesn't happen through stuffing down, but through softening and releasing our resistance to what is, and allowing that heaviness of being human to settle into the pelvic bowl, connecting us to the earth, available to the wisdom of the body. Feel again that merging of your individual earthly body to the greater body of the earth. Feel your heart expanding into the bliss that is not just for your life alone, but for the lives of all living things. Feel the spaciousness in the mind to connect to that greater and more elevated consciousness that is your birthright. And a symbol of joining individual self to the wholeness, bring the palms also to touch and draw that unity into your heart center. As we are nourished by the whole, as we release our burdens to the whole, we find that greater peace within ourselves. And as we amplify and cultivate that peace within, it flows outward, blessing the wholeness of everything. As we close our practice with this prayer of service, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be happy, healthy, safe, and free. Namaste.